everybody. Welcome into the Hoover High School Coaches Show. We're here at Beefo Brady's, and we'd like to say hello to all the folks who are here tonight and are enjoying wing night. And I'm here with the head coach of the Hoover Bucks. That, of course, is Chip English. I'm Jeff Lloyd. And, Coach, big win last week, and that's 4 in a row now for your team.
Yeah, big win. Guys played well. It was one of those deals where you need to go out and have a good performance. I felt like we did in all phases of the game, so happy for the guys. And it was senior night, so we had an opportunity to play a lot of guys. And, just proud. One step in the right direction. We got to continue that.
And that was the type of game that you really needed to have, wanted to have going into this week. We'll talk about what's coming up this week a little bit later, but it was a team that you needed to dominate, and you pretty much did.
Well, Coach Bell does a great job at Tuscaloosa County, but at the same time, we did feel like we had the upper hand. And so while it was a great game to kind of work through some things and fine-tune some areas in all three phases, felt like we did. Again, allowing the seniors to play. We have a lot of kids that invest a ton of time and effort and energy into our program. And, everybody don't get to play all the time. And so when you have an opportunity to allow those guys to kind of shine and get their moment, it's really heartwarming as a coach to be able to kind of allow those guys to fulfill that dream of getting out on the field and contributing, because they contribute every day in practice and in lifts and meetings. It's just they don't get to reap the benefits sometimes of being out on the field. So having that opportunity was great. But it was we had an opportunity to fine-tune some things. We allowed we spread the ball around offensively. Defensively, we got after it. Felt like we had a good night up front and in the secondary. So it was a good step, like I said, and excited for this week. I feel like we're playing well right now. I feel like our momentum is going up, and hopefully we can continue that.
Talking about senior night, you did play a lot of players. Somebody's got to keep track of who's in and who's out. And I know that you're too busy on the sideline to keep track of that, right?
Well, again, just like I tell the players, it's all about preparation. So on Sunday we had a plan going into the game, and we had a plan for all the guys. And believe it or not, I had a list of seniors in my pocket. I was marking them off and making sure those guys got their moment. With a program over 200 kids, not to say kids get forgotten about, but you have to be intentional about how you sub and how you plan that. Our coach did a great job throughout the week of making sure those guys were, prepared to go out there and have success when they did. And, our backup defense and our backup offensive guys were able to go out there and efficiently run our offense and defense. And so happy for them. But, yeah, it was a group effort, and everybody was making sure their guys, their position coaches made sure those guys got in.
Were you disappointed? Was the team disappointed that you didn't get the shutout?
Yeah, that's always the goal, right? We want a goose egg. Coach Reeves, he prides himself on making sure he's shutting guys out. And, but the reality of it is that other team practices, and they came to play a little bit too. And so, those guys had an opportunity, gave up a couple runs here and there. And so it happens. But overall, happy with the team win. We wish we would have got the shutout, though, for sure.
A lot of the players who scored, all the players who scored were seniors, but a lot of those guys were guys that have done it pretty much all year too.
Yeah. And listen, we want everybody, because in a game like this we have coming this week with Thompson, you want your guys to be primed and ready to go, and making sure we're distributing the ball last week, I think allowed for those guys to be ready this coming week.
Before we jump ahead, I thought we'd maybe take a look at what your freshmen and JV team have done this year. We haven't talked about them at all this year, and that's kind of the future. So what kind of seasons did we have there?
Freshmen are around 500, maybe a little bit below, and then JV's undefeated at this point. So those stages, it's so weird. Now we're all about winning, but we're all about developing guys and making sure that those guys are ready and having opportunities to prove themselves, because not only are we developing those groups, but it's a big evaluation stage, right? If a kid plays both ways, is he more offense, is he more defense, or is he both? Does he have a niche as a pass rusher or a run stopper? So it's a big evaluation deal. So 80 around 75 or 80 freshmen came out this year, which is great. We had a really good off season, and those guys have played well, battled through some injuries in some spots, but really happy with where our freshmen are right now and where they project in the coming years. And then, the JV group, those 10th and 11th graders, they're buying their time, but they're working. We don't look at Monday as, oh, it don't matter. It very much matters, and so those guys take it seriously, just like our coaching staff. So, really solid season by the freshmen, and then we're undefeated as JV guys. So, excited about the future and what those young guys can do. And the reality of it is we have around 35 seniors. So, when you have that many, those underclassmen are going to have to step up in the future. And sometimes sooner than later. And we saw that this year through some injuries and attrition a little bit. And so. Those guys are chomping at the bit to really have their opportunity, and they get to prove that on Mondays.
The Bucks played last Thursday night, and so they had an extra day to prepare for this coming week. I know the student athletes had Friday and Saturday off. You probably didn't take any time off at all, did you?
No.
I didn't think you would.
Kids were off Friday, Monday, and Tuesday, and what we did gave them Friday off, and Saturday is a normal day off for them. Most of them go for college visits and stuff. So we came in at 9 a.m. on Friday morning as a staff and met and went ahead and got a day up. We had an opportunity to evaluate the previous film on Thompson and kind of the plan moving forward. And so, we stayed until early Friday afternoon. They got the evening off, so I gave them a little bit of a break. But yeah, we're working. So whenever you have an extra day like that, you don't want to waste it. And so the players needed a day off. They needed 2 straight days. We're at this point of the season where, their legs and even mentally, they just need to kind of disconnect for 48 hours. And we brought them back in on Sunday, had a great Sunday practice, and had a great week, really.
Some teams have an open date in the middle of the season. Hoover did that a few years ago. Do you prefer having that open date right before the playoffs?
There's pros and cons. It is nice because depending on where you are in the seed and all that stuff, there's so much that goes into the playoffs, and you're getting ready for that. You don't want to not treat that 10th game as a valued game, but sometimes I think you can get lost. But there's pros and cons to each. There's an incredible advantage to having that mid-year break, right, where you can rest and kind of recoup a little bit. But there's also a ton of advantages to having that 10th week off too, rolling into the playoffs. And so that's where we were the last 2 years, and I've enjoyed that moving forward. So we'll see how the scheduling goes in the future.
With the win on Thursday night, the Bucks moved to 5-3. They're now 3-2 in region play, and there's a whole boatload of teams that are sitting there at 3-2. The playoffs have yet not been decided, have they? No,
they're far from being decided, and so what we're focused on is things that we can control, and that's our focus. But there's about 10 different scenarios that could happen over the next 2 weeks, and so we got to worry about the Hoover Bucks, and our coaching staff and players have done a great job of that so far. And so, not that we don't know the scenarios, because we absolutely do. Sure. We got to worry about us and making sure we're getting better each day.
And the nice thing is that you still control your destiny. You don't have to really wait around and see what somebody else does. If you do what you need to do, what you want to do, then it takes care of itself.
Exactly, and that's what the focus is, right? If we win the next 2 games, we're going to be the 3 seed, and it is what it is, right? We can't change that now, but we have to take care of what we need to the next 2 weeks, and we have our hands full with both Thompson and Vestavia, but it's no different than any other week. We got to go out there, we prepare, right? I told the guys today, we're going to go into the game Friday with confidence, not because we think we're better or all this kind of stuff. It's because of our preparation. We've had a great week of practice. The guys have gotten better each and every day, and that allows you to play with confidence, and that's what you need when you play in a big game like this.
Well, we put it off long enough. Let's talk about Friday night. That's the game that a lot of people have circled on the calendar at the beginning of the school year and the beginning of the football season. You're taking on the defending 7A state champs, a team you beat last year on the road in overtime, 27-26. How is this team different? How do these 2 teams compare to last year? Your team and their team compared to last year?
Yeah, different teams. We graduated a lot of guys that played. We only have around 8 returning starters combined. Mm-hmm. And so our team looks differently, and Thompson's team is significantly different with the roster that was assembled. And it's going to be a big-time matchup. I feel like every year we seem to match up well with them, not only in the trenches but as the skill positions. And so we have some high-level players, and they do too. And so really it's going to come down to the details and how we can manage the game a little bit. Our kicking game is going to come into play, and punting and field position is going to be a big factor.
Does the extra day give you any type of advantage at all?
I hope so.
Yeah.
I mean,
Good answer.
You would like to believe that, right? That like an extra day of preparation is going to help you in that. Whether it be the understanding, whether it allows the coaches to evaluate more film, the guys to have an extra day of rest in between games. So there's a lot of factors into that. I don't think there's a negative, which is good, right? And so whether that helps us or not, we certainly think it can and did. And so we'll have to find out Friday.
At this point in the season, there are no secrets. I wouldn't imagine. You know pretty much what they are going to do. They know what you guys are going to do. There might be some wrinkles that you might throw in there, but again, you guys have video of them from the first season, the first game on, and they have it on you.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I mean, every team, we have some wrinkles, some things on offense, defense, and Coach Freeman does a good job of holding back some wrinkles and making sure he's bringing them out in those big games. So we're anticipating that, and not only this year, right, but we have film from previous years too. And so we're similar. We're a little bit different. Coach LeBeau coming in as a new coordinator. Coach Freeman and his defense coordinator, they've been there for several years. So it's kind of crazy. You can kind of, like I said last week, you can go down a rabbit hole with the film. But you got to prepare your guys, and the analytics side of it. They're in this formation this many times. They run it out of this formation. They throw it out of this one. Offensively, hey, when they're 4 down, they like to roll the safety. So there's so many different scenarios, and what we try to do as coaches is make sure that we don't get caught up and slow our players down. We want to allow them to play really, really fast. And so we're doing all the thinking and letting them play fast. And so that's the goal. And I'm sure that's like that at Thompson as well.
And I joke with you, I think last year when we did this program, we did this last year, right? We did this last year.
Yeah.
Well, I joked with you last year when we did this that you need to go get that Clay Chalkfield tape. They've beaten them 3 years in a row. How much will you look at last year's video of the Hoover-Thompson game?
It was absolutely in the mix on what we're doing, and I'm not going to confirm or deny that we have the Clay Chalkfield film, but yeah, you just go back, and the thing about it is, it's not only the teams that had success against them, because you do have to see what their vulnerabilities and stuff are, but it's also the teams that like run similar things that you run, because you're not just going to go into a game and like have a different offense or a different defense. So you want to find games that like Clay Chalkfield or whoever, their offense looks similar, the formations, because you got to anticipate how they're going to play against that. So, you watch a number of films, including ours from last year, because a lot of our stuff is similar.
Okay. We're going to continue this conversation, but we want to remind you that we are here at Beef Brady's, and we're here Wednesday nights, and we get the show underway around 6:30. You can watch it live on the NFHS network, watch it on the replay, and it also will be available later on YouTube on the Hoover High School football or athletics channel. But we want to say thanks to the people here at Beef Brady's who make it possible for us to do this show every Wednesday night, and it is wing night, and that of course means 99-cent wing. And I overlooked this a little bit, but they also have boneless wings. And it's buy one, get one free on Wednesday night. So you can buy 6 and get 6. You buy 10, you get 10 free. So that's a great deal if you like the boneless. But we go with the bone-in wings, and they have all kinds of different seasonings and sauces that go along with it. And you just can't go wrong. Wednesday night, we hope you'll join us out here, and we'll celebrate a Hoover win next Wednesday after the Bucks take on Thompson this coming Friday night. That's Beef Brady's right here in the Grove. Well, Coach, your team is playing with a great deal of confidence, and you're putting together 4 consecutive wins, and each win you've gotten better in each of those wins, and you're getting so much closer to playing a complete game, 4 quarters.
Well, and you took the words out of my mouth with the complete game, and that's the goal. And in the next 2 weeks, it's going to take complete games to win. Both of these teams, especially this week, you got to play well in all 3 phases, and it's going to come down to a couple plays here and there. And I tell my guys, it's between 2 and 9 plays is the difference in a close matchup game, and I feel like this is. The crazy part about all that is you don't know when those plays are going to happen throughout the game, so you have to play with a level of consistency, and that goes into playing a complete game. Are they going to complete a pass or possibly even score? Odds are they are. How are we going to respond offensively? Is it an opportunity where we can limit their possessions because we're sustaining our drives when we can't or when we have to punt? Can our punter Grant Morrison punt and make them drive the field? So that's the name of the game, and it's going to be a really good football game. I don't think it's going to be some high-scoring game. It's going to be just like similar to what I feel like it was last year. It's going to be a dogfight, and our guys are ready for that, and we feel like the closer the game is at the end, the better we're going to play.
Mm-hmm. And last year, the Bucs won it in overtime, and they won that game 27-26. Now, this coming Friday night, it will be a home game, and I imagine that place is going to be rocking. It always is when those two teams, those two schools, play one another.
I would anticipate this one being the biggest one of the year, and we've played some big ones. So our fans always come out. It seems like their group always, their fans always travel, and so again, we turned things around at the Met. We were winless earlier, and then all of a sudden we were able to get past it. But our guys are prepared for the game, and we anticipate a big crowd. The city's going to come out, and I think the people will definitely get their money's worth.
I know that you preach that every game is important. Every game is the same in a way in terms of you're focusing on this week. But everybody knows what's on the line when you play this game on Friday night.
Yeah, I mean, you look at the matchup, what it's meant in the past, and then even now, there's a lot on the line. And so our players feel that. I think they feel loose and confident. It's one of those deals where who's going to rise to the occasion? They have a lot of new players. We have players that are stepping up into new roles this year. And so while it is a rivalry and there are returning players, there's a lot of players that's never played in this game.
Yeah.
And so that brings a different level of an excitement, a different level of challenges because they're personnel, our personnel. And so it's going to be rocking. And our guys are going to be ready, and regardless of the outcome, this one always seems to kind of go down in the books as one of the biggest ones of the year. I can tell you just based on the media contacts that's reached out this week, it's going to be heavily, out there on social media, on TV, the whole works. And so if you can't come, tune in because it's going to be a good one.
I read today that of the last 8 region championships, Hoover's won 4, Thompson has won 4. And so you guys won the region last year.
Yeah.
You won't win it this year. They look like they will, but they could clinch it on Friday night, and you don't want them to clinch it on their home field.
No, not at all. And I don't care if this was the first game of the year and it didn't have those implications. I feel like, we're one of the top 2 teams in the state, and the guys feel that, and they're going to rise to the occasion. And this does have a lot of playoff implications, and for us more so than them. But the reality of it is it's a big game, And every time the lights come on and we strap up our pads and go out there, there's a level of humbleness, because we have that opportunity. But then there's the expectation that our guys feel, not only from the coaching staff, what we've established as a standard, but even in the past. And we've had some speakers come throughout the year, this year, that talked about the Hoover past, and they're not harping on the past. We just need to make sure we understand what the standard is moving forward, and those guys are great bearers of Hoover football that I feel like are on our team right now, and moving forward, there's no doubt they're going to do it the right way and make sure they do it with integrity, and extreme effort out on the field. So excited to see these guys.
I think it was probably about week 4 or 5 maybe, you made the comment on the show that you had talked to your team and told them that, hey, football's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
And it still is, and you guys need to be playing like they play the game.
Yeah.
And what I was going to ask you is that you guys are having fun right now, aren't they?
They are. They come to practice. Coaches do a great job of bringing some energy. It's not easy. We go out there and we still practice in full every week. And, I know some programs don't, some programs do. We think it best helps us. And so we go out there, we have a lot of fun. We try to get a lot of people active during the practice. We're scheduled down to every minute of practice and every rep everybody takes. And so when it's like that, when it's well organized, you can have fun with it, right? And you go out there, you understand the assignment, you go out there and you execute. It's fun, and it's even funner when you win.
Yeah, I was going to say, more fun when you win. Coach, I know that you know all about the Thompson team because you've been studying video for the last week and maybe even more than that, but the people that watch this program probably are aware of Hoover. What can you tell us as a scouting report about this Thompson team? And it starts, I guess, with their outstanding quarterback in Trent Seymour.
Yeah.
Seaboard.
It feels like he's been there for 8 years, but it's because he started so young. But he does a good job. He has a command of the offense. He has a strong arm. He's more athletic than people give him credit for, so he can pull it down and extend plays. And so the receiving core is really good. They have a strong running game when they need it. I think they do like to pass more than run. Defensively, they're really, really big. They've had a couple guys, some transfers come in up front defensively that really bolsters that group. And when they're all out there and they have about 8 guys that they rotate that all can play. And they have some high-level guys, a high-level defensive end. Their linebackers fly around. Secondary-wise, they don't have a Fagans back there, which is nice.
Yeah.
But they do have some really talented guys, that are really long. There's 3 out of the 5 DBs that are over 6 foot. And so they have some range about them, and they have some speed, and they like to hit. I'll give them credit. They're a tough football team. They love getting the ball carriers to the ground. So I do think there's some things that they, I don't want to say vulnerable, but they give us some opportunities to make plays, and I think our guys are ready to do that, especially at the wide receiver position.
I would imagine you said that you've been getting a lot of media response this week. You're probably tired of talking about this game. You just want to go ahead and strap it on and play some football, aren't you?
While I am ready, I don't mind talking ball and definitely promoting our guys. And that's the good thing about Hoover. Whether we're region champs or whether we're fighting for a playoff spot, we're still the premier program in the state, and the media knows that. And our guys, I'm happy because and I don't turn any interviews or any publicity down that the Hoover program gets, because that's what it's all about. Anytime that I get to promote our football players, I want to do that. And so there's been plenty to do that this week and in the past too. And so it's being able to highlight our players and what they've done and how they've done it the right way. It's special to me, and I don't mind doing it.
Coach, give us the keys to the game and for you to come away with a victory. And, I know it, turnovers and all that kind of stuff, but, what's the thing you're going to tell your team that they have to do in order to win the game? Well,
the big thing is field position. I think when you go out there in the game, field position is going to be key, and that ties into the kicking game and being able to flip the field, right? And so one is the field position, and then 2, turnovers, and that goes on both sides, right? So offensively, we've had at times where we've really turned the ball over and put our defenses in bad spots. But then likewise, our defense has to create turnovers. And thankfully, the last several weeks, they've been able to do that, which is fun to see. Defensively putting some points on the board and then limiting their explosive plays. That's the bottom line. Turnovers, field position, and limiting their explosive plays offensively. And I think if we do that, we're going to see a really good football game. And so those are the keys. And our guys know that going in. We have to limit the 1 or 2 play drives for touchdowns that they often have. And then when we're not able to score, Again, it's going to be a lot. I told Grant today, every time they touch the ball, we want them to have to go 80 yards. And so, we love pinning them inside the 10, but every time I want you to boom it and make them drive 80. And so, feel confident. We've had a really good week in the special teams world, and those are the keys going into it.
All right, thanks, Coach, and good luck on Friday night. We want to invite you to join us on the broadcast. If you cannot make it out to the Met, we talked about this last week. Come to the Met, watch the replay. That's the best way to do this, because we want you there at the Met. But we'll be on the air with the broadcast beginning at 6:45 with our pregame information. Then we'll have the play-by-play. The kickoff is set for a little bit around 7 o'clock, and then we'll have that. And then Coach will give us his thoughts at halftime, and we thank him for doing that. And then also we'll chat with him following the ball game as well. And we'll be back here next Wednesday at Beefo Brady's, and we invite you to come on out and join us at that time. That's going to wrap it up, and we're going to have some highlights from last week's ball game, the 51-7 victory that the Bucks had over Tuscaloosa County. And we'll have all that coming up in just a moment. And until Friday night, for the coach, I'm Jeff Lloyd. So long, everybody.
Go Bucks.
Bucks on me, Bucks on 3, 1, 2, 3.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome into Hoover High School football. We're here at the Hoover Met. Bucks come in tonight with a record of 4-3 overall, 2-2 in region play, and they are hoping to continue the winning ways here tonight. A rare Thursday night game for the Bucks. Bryant is on, and the kick is long enough, and it is 3-0 lead for the Bucks. And this is running play straight up the middle, and it's in for Jefferson. High snap to come after it, and it's blocked, and it rolls down to the 31-yard line. Says it's going to be a touchdown. Going all the way was Mosley.
Mosley has been the it factor for Hoover, getting it done on the ground.
They hand the ball to him. He's going to stutter step, turn on the gas, cut back, and he gets in for the touchdown.
Every single touchdown so far has been scored by a senior.
Here's a little toss forward, a goofy pass, if you will, to Purdue. Purdue breaks the tackle, and he goes all the way in for the touchdown. Pass over the middle. They're going for the home run, and it's caught. That is Tab, and he will waltz into the end zone. Here's a pass to the end zone, and caught by Suttles.
Another senior getting an opportunity to shine.
Heavy rush, and he is going to be fumbled. It's going to be picked up. There's going to be another fumble recovery for a touchdown.
Goldsby, scoop and score.
We had 37 seniors tonight. Every single one of them played. Every single one of them contributed. So really proud of our staff for making sure we had a plan in place for that. It's their last go around. We talked about seniors just want to win, and this group's trying to do that.